Welcome to the CHCH Newsmakers podcast. I'm your host, Rick Zamperin. If it's making news in Hamilton, Halton, and Niagara, across Canada or around the world, we'll be all over it here on Newsmakers. Owning a business nowadays comes with many challenges, but it can also be very rewarding as well. Our guest today is Jamie Harsevoort, the chairman and CEO of Launchit Solutions in Hamilton, and he has a success story to share with us today. Jamie, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
We're talking about Launchit Solutions. Your company is going to be going public. Let's get into the decision behind that. Why are you doing so?
Well, we've been building, and Launchit Solutions is a healthcare technology company, and we've been building this for a number of years. We've had quite a bit of success, particularly in the last 2 years, and built up some big national partnerships here in Canada. Our next phase of growth is going to involve international expansion. And as we prepare for that and we go down that roadmap, going onto the public markets, getting access to the capital markets and being able to raise money there for some of these purposes is enabling the next part of our growth phase.
When growing a business like this, if you don't go public, are there certain challenges in getting to that next level?
Well, there's lots of options, and they're all equally good, I think, and different people have their own reasons for choosing it. And certainly there's a lot of companies that grow much bigger than Launchit Solutions in the private market. For us, at this point, looking at the different options, we've decided the public markets are the better way of going. We've looking at the different ways of funding growth, particularly as a Canadian company, and the Toronto Venture Exchange has a number of programs that are uniquely Canadian that are geared towards smaller sized businesses that we just thought were the perfect fit for what we wanted to do. What's
the process of getting onto the TSX Venture Exchange? How does that work?
Yeah, most people, including myself a couple of years ago, would have assumed that going into the public markets and doing an IPO was something reserved for very large companies. It was going to cost millions and millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. But yes, we do on the Venture Exchange have a easier way of getting into that. The process involves a number of different things. You have to get financial audits of your company. Yep. You need to satisfy a number of TSX requirements, put in listing statements, prospectus, and so on to outline the business venture and your future growth. All of that goes out to investors and different people in the business world to get to learn more about your business. And then the last step, and one of the most important, obviously, is then the options of doing a raise along with the IPO. Mm-hmm. And so that's where we are right now. We've gone through most of that process. We've gone through the difficulties of, first financial audits according to the public company standards. Required a number of changes to the company and how we do things. We've worked with various investment bankers and even with the TSX Venture staff themselves to get it to this point. And so now we are entering into a period where we'll just be raising a little bit of money, and then we hope to complete the transaction in April of this year.
How long does a process like this take?
Well, it can vary. For us, it took a little bit more than a year.
Okay.
And I think that's a little bit longer than some other TSXV companies. But again, market dynamics and everything, you need to go in at the right time. And the life science market in particular, something we've been keeping an eye on. Life sciences has been a little bit of a tough period over the last 5 years when it comes to attracting investment. And we see a lot of sentiment changing. There's actually a lot more positivity, a lot more people looking to put money into that and to diversify. And of course, with all of the things going on and around the world, also a push particularly in Canada for people to fund Canadian ventures, and we're happy to be one of those that people choose to do so.
Nice. By the way, what is the cost to get on the TSX Venture? Is it like a flat fee, or does it depend on how big the company is?
Yeah, most of the cost comes down to accounting and legal fees. Okay. And it can be done for a few $100,000. And, the bigger the company, the more complicated the structure, it can go up very fast from there. But for us, it's an affordable route, and one, which when you execute a raise, the amount of money you receive back is much greater than what you need to put into it.
So someone working on their own YouTube channel in their basement is probably not going to be on the TSX Venture Exchange if they want to grow.
It's a little bit more complicated, but interestingly, there are even pre-revenue companies that get listed. When you think of things like drug discoveries that may still need to go through clinical trials and so on, you see companies like that going onto the capital markets. The capital markets, and what I really like about them is you find people that are very future focused. Mm-hmm. If you're entering into a growth phase, but you don't, that's better than what your current finances are, and people believe in the team, they believe in the story that you're putting forward, that's what attracts the investment into the company. And it's all about being able to show a roadmap that's going to lead to successful growth.
You mentioned briefly off the top what Launchit Solutions is all about. Let's dig deep into the company. When did you launch it? Why did you want to go down this route? And what do you guys do?
Yeah, I started out, actually, it's a software development company, which was at the time called Wability Solutions, and that was formed in 2010, a Hamilton-based company, so we've been around for 16 years. I still have that software development team, and along the way, founded a number of other companies, all of which were in the healthcare technology space. Launchit Solutions is actually the amalgamation of all of those back into one entity. So at one point we decided our structure was getting a little bit too complicated, and particularly if we wanted to go into the public markets, we needed to simplify that. We also acquired a few other companies, 2Gen Digital, which I believe is Hamilton's oldest tech company, which was founded in, I believe, 1998, merged in with our company about a year ago. MedStack, another company in the healthcare technology space, which has Hamilton roots. We acquired them back in 2024. So we've grown through these different entities. And we put that all together and packaged it up as Launchit Solutions in 2024. So that's been an amalgamated company, run for just under 2 years right now.
Mm-hmm. So in the healthcare space, how are you assisting those who live in that space?
Yeah, our company has two main divisions. So we have a technology division, which is what we were born out of, and we build a number of AI-driven healthcare platforms. But we've also evolved into running and staffing a lot of those programs ourselves. One of our biggest successful lines of business right now is running programs to support patients living with obesity. And we have programs with the major national pharmaceutical companies in that space. We recently launched a national partnership with Shoppers Drug Mart, who will be offering obesity services through their pharmacies. That uses some of the models and some of the care platforms that we've developed. And we're moving that forward. That's also what we're taking into international markets. In December, we launched an obesity service in Brazil. That's our first international subsidiary and first expansion there. Took the first patients into care already, which we're very happy about and excited about that. We have a team in Germany that's preparing the way for a European market entry later on in 2026. So yeah, we're very excited to take these products and bring them out to market. But at its core, Launchit is also what's called a venture studio, which means our core focus is actually finding these innovative ideas in the healthcare world and taking these new innovations and turning them into successes.
Right.
And that's a big gap. Hamilton and Canada, we actually punch above our weight very nicely when it comes to healthcare research. We have a lot of innovation. We have a lot of excellent teams building great things. We don't always have the commercialization success that other areas of the world do. And Launchit Solutions is really about learning how to do that model really well. And so we are not doctors, we're not scientists, we don't pretend to be that. We partner with the leading innovators in their fields, doctors and scientists and so on. We take on the risk and the challenge of how do we take their innovation and turn them into successes without commercialization, and then obviously, other patients don't benefit at it from scale. And so that's a problem that we solve. And so we work, on regulatory and commercialization strategies, marketing, and so on, to build these lines of business.
Do you have healthcare professionals who are contacting you, say, hey, I just did this research, we need an application to, expand or take it around the world? Does that happen?
Yes, those are daily conversations that we have.
That's pretty cool.
We also work closely with a lot of Hamilton institutions. Obviously we've got some great hospitals, university, Mohawk College, and so on. So there's a great ecosystem right here in Hamilton that propels a lot of innovation. We also work, across the country and with a few international partners as well. There's innovation coming in from everywhere, and certainly a lot of people are looking towards a firm like Launchit Solutions to be able to help them commercialize and turn it into a success.
So you mentioned Brazil and Europe. Are you looking to expand to, this being a global enterprise, being in Asia and maybe Australia, New Zealand?
Yes, absolutely. When it comes to the obesity market itself, some of the things that we're doing are very innovative. The patient outcomes when they receive some of our behavioral support services alongside, the medications that are popular nowadays, that improves patient outcomes. It also improves patient adherence to these programs. Those are really important metrics to be able to tackle what's really a major population health problem around the world. Right now, that the science of obesity and so on has changed dramatically in the last 10 years. Every country in the world is updating their clinical practice guidelines and trying to get new innovative ideas in the market. Canada's a leader in that area, and we're one of the companies that is, working on good solutions, and it has a good evidence-based set of real-world data showing that what we're doing actually works very effectively. And that's marketable around the world, and we certainly hope to be a global company getting into after Europe, we'll be looking at the Middle East, at Australia, and so on.
It's a tremendous success story for sure. Back to the IPO, there's going to be revenue or money generated from this. What's the plan for that money? Is it just reinvesting in the company, expanding? What's your targets?
Well, the main use of proceeds is going to be on the international expansion, on building out that line of business. But certainly as we're building that and the international expansion, we'll generate a lot of cash flow. We hope to be finding the next innovative ideas as well. So, we don't want to be a one-service type of company, but we really strongly believe in early-stage healthcare, on finding those things that can really make a difference, particularly in chronic spaces, and turning them into successes. What we're trying to do is not just expand, certain lines of business, but as we're doing that, developing that roadmap. We have hosting infrastructure. We're now, have data compliance in Europe and South America, along with Canada. All of those things can be leveraged for the next innovative ideas that come along. All of our partnerships, everything else. Every time we go through this, we just have a better foundation and a better network to be able to take the next innovative idea and do it bigger and faster than the one that we previously did.
How amazing is it to be in Hamilton, where a lot of these healthcare innovations are being made, whether it's at McMaster University, Hamilton Health Sciences, St. Joseph's Healthcare Hamilton. This is the hotspot, really, in Ontario, maybe of all of Canada, in terms of healthcare research.
It is. It's very true, Rick. And it's interesting. When I started my business and I chose to locate it in Hamilton, and I grew up in the area, of course. I'm a Hamilton advocate through and through. Yeah. But people told me I was crazy.
Really?
And I was going to, start a technology company in Hamilton. I was going to focus on healthcare. And at one point, a few people had a bet on how quickly I would move to Toronto. But, that has changed a lot.
Yeah.
And now I hear from other people that they're jealous of the ecosystem in Hamilton, the support there is for innovation, the strength of our institutions. We've really managed to, and that's kudos to a lot of different players in the area. Yeah. We've really managed to turn Hamilton into a thriving healthcare innovation hub, and it's fantastic.
So did you have an inkling back then that this city would be that eventually?
I've always said Hamilton's right around the corner, and it happens iteratively, maybe not always as fast as we want.
Right.
But I did believe in the city and the major institutions, and very gratifying to see how far we've come.
So back again to the TSX Venture Exchange. And you mentioned April being kind of like the finish line. Do you get a call? Do you get an email? How does that work to say, all right, you're in?
I think I get to ring a bell.
Oh, really? Okay, so it works like that. Okay.
Yeah, well, everything gets coordinated. So, once we're at the final stages and we think that we're done, we will submit the final paperwork over to the TSXV, and their staff will actually validate and give the final approval. Okay. So the exact timing and when that happens is determined by their team to make sure we're fully compliant. But yes, we certainly plan on having all of that covered off so that in April we can ring the bell and be in the market.
Pretty cool. If this goes all according to plan and sometime down the road you get really big, is the projected next jump to the TSX, or would you just be comfortable staying on the Venture Exchange?
Well, I think we'll be staying on the Venture Exchange, for the while. Right. And I've learned in business not to look too far into the future and try to predict the next success. But it would be very typical to, of a company that as it grows to move from the Venture Exchange onto the TSX. And if we want to be a global company, potentially the European stock exchanges or, right. Some of the other stock exchanges may be useful to us in due time as well.
There's been a lot of talk about tariffs and economic uncertainty, a lot of it drummed up by what's happening, stateside and their relationship with us and vice versa. Has that impacted the business at all? Has it thrown a new wrinkle? Have you had to do some things differently?
It's changed some of our growth plans, certainly. We're a lot of the business we're in, we're fortunate that it's not, directly tariffed. Right. So we don't have some of the repercussions that other people do. And I really feel for some of the business leaders that have to grapple with all of that. But market dynamics are changing. We are looking towards Europe and expanding into there and into South America. It's notable as a Canadian company that our first expansion plan isn't the U.S., which is what we originally thought. The tariffs have changed a few things. For us, we did have a partnership with a U.S. company that we ended up backing out of at a certain point. Partly driven by tariffs, but that was, supply chain issues with the medications and the market dynamics, all of which go back to the same issues, just made things too chaotic and unpredictable for that one.
Community involvement is big for Launchit Solutions as well, and you have a partnership with Children's International Games. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. And so, one of our senior people on staff here, Mark Wu, who, was one of the founders of 2Gen Digital, which is merged in with Launchit, has been a passionate advocate of those games. Launchit Solutions is doing a lot of work on preparing, the websites, the technology to be able to facilitate the, different people from around the world to sign up to engage in these games. The International Games it's an amazing initiative. It's not one like the Olympics that comes with billion-dollar budgets.
Sure.
So they rely on local teams that are able to come in and help out to facilitate all of this. It's really nice to be part of. We're proud of that, and looking forward to the success of the games as well.
The games were last in Hamilton in 2000. I think they were here in '94, mid-'90s. Is the hope to one day bring it back to Hamilton as well?
That is a hope.
Okay.
Yes, and we have people on our team or on the Launchit team that also help, with some of those initiatives as well. So we definitely have a number of very locally invested people that are part of these different initiatives, and where Launchit can contribute, we're always very happy to do so. All
right, back to Launchit Solutions, future goals and how AI is kind of amp things up, for lack of a better term. How has it impacted it, and what do you see down the road in terms of how you can utilize it?
Yeah, so we're already extensively using AI. Now, we, the majority of our client base is in the healthcare industry, which is generally risk adverse and tends to be a late adopter of these technologies. Yeah. But we have the good fortune that we've managed to develop a number of fairly large AI platforms. We've done a few for non-healthcare clients as well, but within healthcare, we've done some work on that, and it's really exciting what it can do, and it'll be very exciting to see the transformation over the next little while. We're working actually on expanding some of our technical services as well to provide some of the additional safeguards needed for healthcare, making the AI products from a compliance perspective more accessible to small, medium-sized healthcare organizations. And we've got some exciting stuff coming in the pipeline for that too.
Is there a lot of competition in this space?
There's a lot of people that work on healthcare and early stage healthcare. There's actually not a lot of competition. What we do is a little bit unique in that we look for people, doctors, scientists that have these innovative ideas that don't necessarily want to be involved as an entrepreneur and start a new business and so on. And, there's lots of options for people that do want to do that. But we always say is if you don't want to leave your day job and you want to continue on, just being a doctor, we can take on that role.
Yeah.
I think you could have 100 Launchit Solutions in Canada, and there'd probably be enough innovative ideas for us all to jump onto. So competition's not something I really spend a lot of time thinking about.
When you finally get on the TSX Venture Exchange, what's the party going to be like?
Well, it'll be fantastic. It'll be big, and of course, it'll be right here in Hamilton.
Excellent. Well, continued success, best of luck, and I'm sure we'll be hearing lots more about Launchit Solutions in the future. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Rick.
All right, and that is a wrap for the Newsmakers podcast. A huge thanks to the all-star cast behind the scenes. If you like today's episode, click the thumbs up, hit subscribe, leave a comment as well. You can catch the Newsmakers podcast on chch.com/podcasts and wherever you get your favorite podcasts.